Good day and welcome here to sportsdaz.ie. It is Wednesday and that means it's time for SportsDaz Camogie, our weekly look at the camogie scene around the country, what just happened and what is coming up. And there's plenty to talk about on the show over the next while. We'll be hearing from the new Limerick senior camogie manager Pat Ryan, who was ratified during the week. Limerick aiming to bounce back from a disappointing 2020. And we'll also talk to Galway camogie legend Therese Maher, who is this week's featured guest on TG Carr's Laochra Gael, which airs tomorrow night, as Thursday, at 9:30. But let's run through all the news we have for camogie during the week. And of course, as mentioned, Pat Ryan is the new Limerick senior camogie manager. He's put together a formidable team that also includes John Lillis, the former Tipperary camogie manager. And Limerick camogie have had a lot of changes at boardroom level and management teams overall. They've even at underage level, Rebecca DeLee is in with the under-16s as his former Limerick manager Declan Nash. So Limerick hoping for big things in 2021. And as I mentioned, we'll be talking to Pat Ryan in just a couple of moments. I talked about Tipperary. Well, Bill Mullaney is staying put there. Of course, Tipperary had a very good 2020. They made the Littlewoods National League final, only for that to be called off due to COVID-19. And they reached the All-Ireland semi-final for the third year in a row. Just didn't happen for them against Galway on that occasion. Bill Mullaney staying in charge. He's added Angelo Walsh and Dennis Kelly to his backroom team. Can this year be the year that Tipperary make the breakthrough and maybe make an All-Ireland senior camogie final? Well, it's nice to be talking about managers staying in their roles. Paulie Murray looks set to continue as Cork senior camogie manager for a 10th consecutive year. He's told them he's available. We hear that pre-season plans are already being put in place, and also the Cork Camogie Board have ratified minor manager Jerry Wallace and under-16 manager Donny Daly. Of course, their teams didn't get to play competitive action last year, or much anyway, due to both competitions being called off. So Cork happy enough with what they're putting together for 2021. In Clare, they've been honouring the volunteers have dedicated themselves to promoting and building Clare Camogie. Kilmaley's David Dillon has won the Lifetime Achievement Award, and Curravent's Elaine Keane is the Volunteer of the Year. So congratulations to both of those in Clare. Most of the time we do be talking about the players, the managers, the big controversial moments. It's actually nice at times here on SportsDaz Camogie to actually look at those who work behind the scenes and don't get mentioned too often. And David Dillon and Elaine Keane have put in as much work for Clare as anybody else. I mentioned at the top of the show, Therese Maher, Galway camogie legend, TG Carr, tomorrow night, that's Thursday. She's the featured guest in Laochra Gael. I was at a press conference with her during the week and we will hear a bit from Therese Maher. Also in Galway, they're not happy about the split season. New chairperson Brian Griffin was on the local paper, the Connacht Tribune, to say he was surprised by the decision. A lot of people now, in fairness, are not happy with the split season, and we definitely echo Brian's sentiments. We thought with the GA going that way that camogie and ladies football would follow suit, but that's not to be as things stand. But of course, we also have to remember that we don't know where we stand. We're here talking to you on the 20th of January, hoping we'll be back in action at the end of February, concerned about whether club matches are going to take place in the Provincial and All-Ireland Series. So we don't know what way things are going to go, and even talk from the GA circles is they're going to put everything back a month, and that will make the split season very, very difficult there. But we will monitor that. But Galway publicly coming out and saying that they're not happy about the lack of a split season, and I think those sentiments are shared across the country. Bit of big news this week. It was just breaking last week. Anne Dalton has retired from Kilkenny. Anne Dalton, any followers here in SportsDaz Camogie will know how much of a fan I am of her and her performances this year. She won 2 All-Irelands with Kilkenny. She's definitely a Player of the Year contender, and she's decided now, after winning her second All-Ireland title, that she is stepping down from the inter-county scene. I've no doubt she will continue when St. Lochtan's this downy, but Anne Dalton will no longer be in the Kilkenny jersey, and I just want to say thank you very much, Anne, for the memories. You've been a tremendous ambassador for Kilkenny Camogie, a tremendous star on the field of play, and we do hope that we will get a chance to talk to Anne at some stage during the year. Kilkenny's Grace Walsh is the WGPA Player of the Month for December. As you will be well aware, Grace Walsh, normally known as a wing-back or even a cornerback, moved to midfield for the All-Ireland final and did enough to exert her authority and dominate that sector as Kilkenny won the All-Ireland title for the first time in 4 years. So well done to Grace Walsh. Westmeath are losing their third player to retirement this year, as Sarah King from Delvin has decided to hang up her inter-county boots. She joins Pamela Greville and Mairead McCormick, who'll be watching Westmeath from the sideline in 2021. Sarah as well playing her part in Westmeath moving up the ladder rapidly over the last decade, and she will go down as a Camogie legend in the Lakeside County. Offaly Camogie, you would have heard last week in the show, we had their new manager Susan Erner. Well, they're having a 24-hour stay-at-home runathon on the 6th of February. I think that is Saturday, 2 weeks' time. If you're interested in getting involved, check out their social media channels, and a great opportunity to help promote Offaly Camogie. A couple more things before we finish up. The National Camogie Development Forum will take place on Saturday week. That's the 30th of January. Plenty of guest speakers, including Wexford Camogie star Ursula Jacob, who won 4 All-Ireland titles with the Slaney Siders. Mary Tracy Kelly will be the MC on the day, so check out their Twitter page. There's a link. It'll take place through Zoom, and that's on Saturday week. And finally, the CCAO third level Camogie have followed their football and GA counterparts in announcing that there will be no third level competition this season. A massive blow for the third level sector, but understandable in the current climate, especially with many college students studying from home and doing lectures online. So we're not going to be having an Ashburn Cup this year. Hopefully we will have one again in early 2022, but disappointing news, but not unexpected. So that's our roundup of everything happening Camogie over the last 7 days. As mentioned, we have 2 guests. Later on we will hear from Galway Camogie legend Therese Maher. But first, I got a chance to talk to the new Limerick senior and junior Camogie manager, Pat Ryan.
I like listening to SportsDaz because I like to listen to ladies football and ladies Camogie.
Now I'm delighted to be joined by the new Limerick senior and junior Camogie manager, I should say, Pat Ryan. And Pat, first things first, congratulations on your appointment.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Appreciate that. I'm looking forward to the day we get out on the field. It'll be a good day, so looking forward to that.
Pat, for yourself, it's kind of like a homecoming in itself. I know you've been working with clubs in Limerick in the past and have enjoyed county minor successes, but you were away and you managed Antrim for a while, but now you're finally coming back to your home county. Yeah,
look, sure, I suppose it's a great honour to manage your own county, and, I suppose with the hurlers doing so well, it'd be great now if the women had a bit of success, because, look, I suppose hurling, it's a massive part of life in Limerick. We're a great sporting county, and, if the Camogie could make its mark as well, it'd be great. It'd be only good for everyone. Limerick supporters are just incredible. So they'll just follow,
In recent years, the signs have been positive with Limerick after the intermediate success, and of course you were in the quarterfinals in 2019.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, 2020 was just one of those years where it didn't go right.
Yeah, it was just, look, things happen. These things happen, but I suppose, look, all you can do is start again now and start fresh. And I think after COVID, I think everyone wants just to drive on now and just get out in the field and maybe just think about enjoying it first. And then, things might happen then. I think we all need to go back to the basics of the game and start, like the GA was set up for us all to enjoy it. And I think results might happen then if we do that.
That's the one thing as well, Pat, when we do eventually get back in the field, the play will create that appreciation a bit more. And coming into the position that Limerick are in at the moment, a county, let alone just your own appointment first, which we'll talk about in a moment, a county just mad to get going again and get back on the right track.
Yeah, I rang a lot of girls there. I'm trying to just monitor both teams because, look, I just see Galway. It seems to work in Galway. It might be a lot of work for the manager, but look, about 65 girls on a Zoom call now after I talked to you at 8:30 tonight. So, they're all keen, and I think it's something for them to look forward to. Like, I mean, it's no way to live your youth at the moment, this COVID. So maybe the Camogie is a ray of light for all the girls, and they're really looking forward to it. So, you know, just to give them a date, I suppose, when we go back, it's only frustrating part, but at least it gives them a ray of hope that there's something to look forward to.
And for a first-year manager as well, Pat, you're trying to get to know a panel. You just mentioned trying to get to know 65 players. Like the current climate we're in at the moment, like you're definitely coming in at a disadvantage for managers that would know their players already.
Yeah, I suppose, look, lockdown has helped from the point of view of just watching YouTube matches. I've watched so much Camogie in the last few weeks. And you know what? I've learned an awful lot from watching club matches, county matches. And I suppose during the lockdowns, matches were recorded and that, which was great. So I have a great idea of a lot of players already, you know, so maybe if there wasn't a lockdown, I wouldn't have put so much time into watching all those matches. But, you know, it was very educational for me going in.
It's a good another tip too to all the games being streamed last year as well, of course, at club and intercounty as well, and it gives you that kind of Bible of stuff to give you a platform to get going. Exactly.
No, I think it's been very beneficial to me already. I kind of know a lot of the girls already without even meeting them, which is great. I suppose from a management team as well, we couldn't even meet up, and that's a bit tricky as well. We'd Zoom calls together, and it'd be great that we could meet up. But sure, look, that day will come. We just have to believe that. Otherwise, you know, our heads will drop, and we just have to believe it's going to happen soon, you know.
You've put a strong management team together. I believe a certain John Lillis is part of that.
He is, I worked with John in Bank of Ireland for years, and I suppose, look, when we ever spoke, we always spoke hurling, and I knew he had a deep involvement in Tip Camogie, and, you know, I mostly came from a hurling background, but, you know, I said, geez, we need a guy with that in-depth knowledge. So John, he came on board, which is great, and I'm delighted. You know, I have a lot of Tipperary guys involved, and I don't know if that's a good move, but, you know, they're all sound guys, you know, that's the main thing, you know.
And all steeple hurling Camogie anxious for success as well. You talked there about taking on the junior team as well. Was that something that was asked of you, or was it something you wanted in particular?
The county board asked me to do a 3-year plan, and I just saw it in Galway. Like, you know, it really works in Galway. It's a big workload for the management, but I find you might spot the younger players and get them through quicker. You know, you have your finger on the pulse. I'll have plenty of support me with that as well, you know, but I'm building it as time goes on. But I definitely think, you know, I don't even call it the junior team. I call it Limerick second team, that they're your conveyor belt, really, you know, that you're bringing through that young girl out of minor, you know, developing her at a high level, and then maybe bring her on to the senior in a year or two, you know. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
And the one good thing about Limerick as well, taking that point into account, is that Limerick have enjoyed underage success. They were in an All-Ireland Premier Junior final in Croke Park in 2019. So not just regards to the current panel as well, you have players that are going to be fighting to get in that 30.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, look, there's a great chance of them winning something in that as well. And, you know, that will develop confidence with younger players when they're coming up. They're used to that winning mentality then. So I'd be telling them, like I really would be putting a big emphasis on giving the junior a right rattle as well.
Of course, going back to the senior as well, it was well documented last year after the Westmeath game, there was 9 players unavailable for Limerick Camogie. Have you been talking to many of those players or bringing them back in?
A good few have come back in, you know, like, but I suppose, look, Westmeath probably didn't get enough credit as well last year for that. Like, I know Johnny Greville there, like, Antrim played Westmeath in the match, and were so well organised and they've great spirit and all that. So, like, you know, like, I think Westmeath should have probably got a bit of credit that day as well, and they didn't. They kind of more focused on Limerick missing players. But look, a good few players have gone back. Like, there was different reasons as well for players that other commitments as well last year. So look, most of them I think I have them back anyway, which is good. You know, we need everyone in Limerick, and I didn't want work commitments or college commitments either to stop players coming in. We're trying to help them as well, you know, that way.
Because as we mentioned already, we know it's there in Limerick All-Ireland quarter-final in 2019 as well. And it's getting back in the field of play. And of course, hopefully you'll be back in the field of play sooner rather than later. You mentioned about a 3-year plan. Have you any provisional plans for this season in particular, or are you just starting game by game and see where you go?
Well, like, look, I suppose you've a new management team. You're trying to get to know the players. Of course, you'd love to go out and win something. But I think for this year, if we can get a spirit going, a good culture going, and see where it takes us, and maybe have a really united group going into year 2, I think, you know, it's asking a lot. Maybe we might have only maybe 4 months together this year, or 5 months, I'm not sure. So it'll all depend, I suppose, how quick we get back. You know, if it's a very short period, it'll be against us in a way. But look, I think we just need to get everyone buying into it this year, buying in that they want to play for Limerick. That's the way I'd be selling it anyway.
getting the united front as well.
No, there's no strength without unity is the greatest motto of all. Everyone has to pull together, management, players, boards. That's the secret in any sport. It's simple enough. Everyone has to pull together.
Pat, of course, with yourself, you paid your dues working your way up. I touched on minor county titles already of success at club level too. And of course, we mentioned about being Antrim senior manager in 2019. And let's not forget, of course, in All-Ireland with the Kerry minor B All-Ireland back in 2013, I think it was. The experience you've gained, especially the inter-county level, how will you feel that will help you coming into this particular role? Yeah,
I suppose, look, inter-county level, at club level, you might always be dependent on a few players and coax them along and that, whereas inter-county, you have a bigger choice, so if players not willing to give the commitment, you have that option, whereas at club level, you don't have that option. Sometimes at inter-county, your fixtures are kind of set. The club scene was all over the shop for years, but I think hopefully that might improve now with the split seasons and that. So at least you can give girls a structure to put their working life around it, that the fixtures are in such a state. I thought that's a massive thing in inter-county, that you can plan your life really.
And even not just the senior and second teams that you're in charge of as well. There's been a lot of overhaul in Limerick Camogie. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs, but it's great to see the structures being put in at underage level when you see the likes of Rebecca DeLee and Declan Nash involved with the under-16s.
Yeah, Declan's done massive work there all the way up, and the board have been very positive towards that. They're kind of looking at the hurling setup. I was involved in 2012 with development squads and in the hurling. So, they put it in from under 14 up. Limerick are winning Ireland. It's not, the work has been put in. So the Camogie are trying to do it at the underage level now as well. So the girls will be strength and conditioned by the time they come out of minor, which is a massive plus, So that's the key really. It's a long term, get them through to adult level prepared and facing that. So that'll help big time.
I like listening to SportsDaz because he has famous celebrities and I get to listen to him. Darren Kelly.
Therese, you and me have shared many conversations about your career. With this programme as well, this opened up the door to your life as well at home. You've spoken about your parents, your family too, your marriage with David and all that. No doubt you reflected an awful lot about whether you're willing to let people into your own personal, private life.
Yeah, I think they're kind of trying to see more about the person and not just the player. So, and I suppose how the person became the player they did at the end of their career. So, yeah, when we did the interview, it's how the conversation went. She asked the questions and I tried to answer as honestly as I could. And, with some questions, it unearthed some emotion, and that's just the way it went.
Talking about memories is one thing, but when you actually look at the pictures, the memorabilia all put together in one go, what goes through your mind?
I haven't seen the show yet now, bear that in mind. But I know you look back on it, and when any sports person, I suppose, finishes their career, all you have is memories. So it's nice for somebody, I suppose, to collate them into an hour-long programme that I suppose we'll always have, and have hopefully fond memories to look back on.
Of course, that day in 2013 is a day that will live in all our memories as two Galway people ourselves. 8 years later, looking back, obviously you've been a supporter, you've been a mother, you've seen Carrie, your niece, win in All-Ireland as well. Like, when you look at the player and person you are now today, I suppose the supporter and person you are now, how do you compare?
Oh, but sure, Darren, nothing beats playing, to be fair. I suppose when you're standing looking on, you just want to be the best supporter that you can be, and hooking every ball with them to hope everything goes their way. But no, I'm at a different stage in my life now. We'll always support Galway Camogie when things go back to normal again. Please God, it was a very strange All-Ireland to be watching from the comforts of your sitting room this year. But yeah, look, time waits for nobody, unfortunately. So my career had to move on. I'm at a lovely stage in my life now with my kids. And looking forward to seeing what the next chapter brings, I suppose.
And final question from me, Therese. This story, of course, is mainly geared around that eternal quest to get your hands on the Duffy Cup. Could we see a sequel in a couple of years' time? Will the cause continue for Athenry for another couple of years?
Will I be playing at club level? Sure, as long as the legs stay going, Darren. We're building our house now this year, so there's other commitments that are there, and life is busy with the boys. But yeah, as long as I suppose I can stay going, it's Camogie, I suppose, has been a part of my identity for so long that it is hard to let it go. So if I don't play, I'm sure I can do something in some other capacity.
And that was Galway Camogie legend Therese Maher, who will be the featured guest on TG Carr's Laochra Gael tomorrow night, Thursday at 9:30. Make sure you catch that show. It's a fantastic story about Therese's journey to finally getting that elusive All-Ireland medal in her final inter-county game. And of course, beforehand, we heard from Pat Ryan, the new Limerick senior and junior camogie manager, and hoping for big things among the Shannonsiders this year. If you haven't caught it already, check out this week's Fair Green. It is with the Armagh joint camogie captain Orlagh Murray. What a year Armagh had, and we enjoyed catching up with Orlagh as she goes through her career, how Armagh have progressed, and also names her fantastic four. We'll be back again with SportsDaz Camogie next week. Unfortunately, we won't be talking about matches, but we'll be talking about camogie. So with that being said, thank you very much for joining us. I'm Darren Kelly, and this was SportsDaz Camogie.